Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to tell you how you can hit depth on your squats easy. Easy, mate. Now, I'm a 93 kilo junior powerlifter. I can squat 220 kilos. Now, you can say that's either good or bad. That's up to you, but I think it's okay. And I can give you some tips on how you can hit depth. And I've done it in competition. Therefore, it's depth, it's legal. I know how to do it.
Let's do it.
No faffing about. Tip number one, increase your ankle mobility. Now, this is something I'm sure you've heard 1,000 times, but when I say ankle mobility, what I'm talking about specifically is dorsiflexion of the ankle. You want your knee to be able to travel over your toe so your bum can get down and hit depth. If your knees don't go over your toes enough, that means you're going to have some lower back rounding at the bottom of your squat. Now, this isn't something you want because it can result in a lot of injuries because it causes a lot of stress on the lower back. So when you hit the bottom and you come out of the hole, it's all lower back in that moment. Obviously, doing this under load will improve the strength of your lower back. However, it's not ideal for a squat. When you come out the hole, you want it to be quads coming up, okay? Because your quads are the strongest mover in that moment in time. So to increase ankle mobility, you need to do mobilizing work, obviously, and flexibility work to improve dorsiflexion of the ankle. Just a few drills you can do to help improve this. Get the bar, kneel down, and push your knee over your toe with a weight, with a bar, whatever you've got at hand. That will help a lot because it's the exact motion you're going to be doing when you squat. Or you can stand against a wall and then try and push your knee towards that wall as much as you can. Now you need to be holding these for about a minute at least, okay, because we're trying to get flexibility here. In the short term, if you're doing this before you lift, probably about 30 to 45 seconds just to increase that mobility. But for the long term, we want to be doing that for a minute plus every time. Now, this is something I've had to do because I've noticed my ankle mobility is shit. Like, I'm just shit at things and it's pissing me off. So I need to do that to stop my lower back rounding, stop injuries, and I can fucking smash a 300 kilo squat one day maybe. Okay, tip number two. Whenever you squat, point your toes slightly out. Not like a sumo. Literally, if you have your feet parallel, point them slightly out. So when you're coming down in the squat in the eccentric part, it's going to allow your bum, your ass, your glutes, your gluteus maximus, your buttocks to get down through your legs more so you're not restricted by your ankle mobility. Now, obviously, this might cause lower back rounding. However, if you haven't sorted that problem, this is something you might need to do to improve your depth. I've noticed. I've been doing this and yes, my back is fucked. So, this is a very short-term solution and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it unless you're desperate. But some people do just struggle to get flexible ankles, like me. So, you might have to just firm it and build up the strength of your lower back. I am exaggerating this. Like you're not going to do it and your lower back is just going to be fucked. I'm just saying over time it's going to cause a lot of fatigue. And then when you do such as deadlift and bench and you're using your lower back to get an arch or to deadlift, it's going to hinder you. So I'm just want you to bear that in mind. So point your feet out. This is if you're really struggling. Long term, your ankle mobility is literally simply the key factor, okay? Because you just need to be able to get your knees forward over your toes more. Okay, tip number three is that you need to lower the weight and work on your technique hitting depth. Now, this is something I did last year towards the end of the year. I was squatting like 150, 140, 150 kilos, half repping, dog shit, okay? And then I was like, Joe, what? This isn't working. I need to sort my squat form out, okay? Then what I did is I lowered it to simply 60 kilos, okay? And then I would do sets of 6, sets of 8, and then I would progressively build that up over time to now where I hit a 220 kilo squat with depth. Now I took it to the extreme of lowering the weight entirely to one plate. That is quite an extreme lower of weight, but it's helped a lot. If you just do this with proper technique, hitting full depth every single week, progressing like 5 kilos, you'll be progressing 5 kilos like it's nothing, but it's simply for technique. We're not talking about building muscle here. This is technique and depth. So lower the weight, work on depth, and build yourself up. Trust me, I did it and it worked. I'm my own case study and it worked. Okay, tip number 4. Something I did that might help you, but it definitely helped me, is that I had to adopt a wider stance in order to hit depth. So what I did is that I widened my feet, not super wide, but wide enough where I can hit depth. That's the key. You need to have your stance wide enough for you to hit depth. But obviously, if you are too wide, you're going to lose power coming up, okay? So you want to be wide enough where your bum can get below your knee. So you'll just have to experiment over time and see where your stance will be. I'm like, if you stood shoulder width, slightly wider with my toes out, and I'm able to hit good depth whilst having enough power to smash the lift. Okay, tip number 5. If all else fails, you can't improve your ankle flexibility, mobility, stability, right? You can't get your bum low, you can't get your knees over your toes, right? All else fails, get some squat shoes. Just get some squat shoes, okay? They are literally the only reason I'm able to hit depth. I would be squatting like a fucking penguin if I didn't have these. The heel is slightly higher. You're able to then get your bum lower whilst not having to need the ankle flexibility to do that. It took me a good few months to get used to squatting it because you're squatting on a slant like this, okay? Now, a lot of powerlifters do not squat in shoes, but it's entirely up to you. If you can hit depth fine without the shoes, then you don't need them. But if you really are struggling, I would just recommend getting them because then you're going to save all that time, all that effort trying to get more flexible ankles when you could just solve the problem quite simply with some shoes. It worked for me. I mean, there's definitely some issues with my squat, but don't get me wrong. It's a lot better than it used to be. I'm just very critical. It's not actually that bad, but I'm just quite critical of myself. But it could just be better. And if it could be better, why not make it better? That's why I want flexible ankles so I can squat 300 kilos. One day. One day. Now, I don't want to hear you say I can't do it. I mean, I can't do it now. You never know. I'm only 20. 20 squatting 220. Give me 10 years. 10 kilo a year. Mate, I'll be at 320 kilos. That is perfectly doable. I'll be the next Jonathan Kygo. Fucking I wish. Well, thank you for watching this squat depth video, and I hope you're able to hit your squat depth in your competition, in training, or whatever you're doing. I just hope you're able to do it now because of my great advice. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.